What if you have a hidden potential, a hidden drive within you, and by implementing a simple system and a simple change into your life, you can unleash that potential and drive and start to sprint towards your goals? In this video, I'm going to talk about what I mean by that hidden potential. I am going to talk about why this is a new phenomenon that we are now facing. And also, I'm going to give you that system that you can implement to unleash that potential and drive. A couple of years ago, I had a realization from an experiment I did that has shaped my mind ever since. I was sitting at the time and living with a couple of roommates in a house, and I was sitting at my sofa in my room scrolling on my phone. I was supposed to be working that day, my computer standing there on my desk, but I was sitting here and scrolling. I had started out sitting down at my computer trying to work, but as I was working on a startup and building websites, I had to be on the internet to work with that business. And then every day I got sucked into something. I was going on YouTube to watch a tutorial, or I was just gonna send a message to someone. And then suddenly I was sitting there and I was scrolling and watching some random YouTube video about some random topic. It was not that I didn't know that there was a problem with my dopamine, but I still couldn't do anything about it. I was so attracted to do anything else than working. So at that time, an idea fell into my head. I was like, what would I have done if I lived for 200 years ago and I was sitting here and I couldn't do anything? Or that I was sitting here and I didn't have the opportunity to be on any mindless consumption on the internet, just doing my work. Would it then be easier? That was the idea that I thought about, and I went the entire day and I thought about that, and I told my roommate the next day to lock me in my room for 3 hours with just a notebook and without any technological device, just because I wanted to see what happened. I sat down with my notebook, and the rule was that I was not going to pick that notebook up before I really wanted to, as easy as scrolling on my phone. I sat there for half an hour, for an hour, and suddenly my mind started to wander and fantasize. And after 1.5 hours, I actually picked up that book and I started to dribble. I started to write, and then I started to come up with some ideas for my business. And then suddenly I was sitting there fully focused in a flow state, working on my business. And the only thing I did was to remove the technological device. And this was only for 3 hours. So I had kind of in a small way discovered that by removing technological devices, it was actually tangible that I started to get a motivation and a drive to do something else. I started to build the theory, and of course a lot of other people have this theory, that my potential drive and motivation was being suppressed by something. And that something was the easy quick fix, instant gratification of pulling up your phone and being instantly entertained and consuming that content instead of working towards my goal, working on my business and working on the projects that I was doing. Because that was a little bit harder than just scrolling on my phone. So whenever I felt bored, whenever I wanted to be entertained, I could just be entertained like that. It's so hard for us to be bored, and when I don't have any boredom, I don't get that little extra effort I had to put in to figure out what I want to do and if that thing is exciting to me or not. Without mindlessly consuming, I was strengthening my inner potential. But okay, it's easy to lock yourself in a room for a couple of hours, for 1 day, 2 days, but I was going to live a life and I was still going to use technology. So what do I do then? Well, I needed to create some kind of system. And I knew from experience that I got sucked in every single day into something about on my technological device. So I had to create that system to be coherent with that kind of pattern. That's why I created the dopamine cycle. And you can see the dopamine cycle here. And it's a very easy cycle that is built upon that every time you make a circle, you are becoming stronger. So you get sucked in, you consume information, then you gain awareness. And that's the key here, to be good to gain awareness, where you're like, okay, now I'm distracted, now I'm scrolling. And then you take an action, you put down your phone, you delete the app, you do whatever you can to go back to focusing on some more boring or some more sustainable task. And then whenever you take a circle, you notice you get stronger. And then picture that your potential, motivation and drive is suppressed down by a big weight. It's under a lid with a weight on. And on that weight we have all of the social media apps and internet sites that we are using on a daily basis to distract ourselves. And every time you make a circle in this dopamine cycle, you get a +1. That means that you lift the lid of that potential, motivation, and drive a little bit. Some light can come up and you feel good about working for a long period of time, or you come up with some new idea to entertain yourself that's not being on a technological device. You do something that takes a little bit more time, it's a little bit more boring, but you feel like it feels good afterwards. And the more you take this circle, the more you're able to catch yourself when you're getting sucked in and start consuming. You get awareness and you take an action, then you're lifting the lid of this potential motivation and drive more and more and more, and that becomes stronger and stronger, and getting sucked in and starting to consume is getting weaker and weaker. When you discovered the joy of sustainably being focused and working on something for a long period of time, you probably know the feeling, getting that stronger, then when that becomes so strong, you will want to do that instead of mindlessly consuming. And you can come to a place when you can catch yourself like that. Okay, now I'm doing the thing I'm not supposed to. You say in your head, and then you just put it down and you continue to focus. It's no big deal. Because when we start to scroll and be distracted, it kind of scatters our mind throughout the day, and it becomes harder and harder and harder to work on what we know we need to work on. And if we do that day by day, we spend hours and hours mindlessly consuming content, and that's hours we could have spent on doing something more fulfilling for us. So you can download this dopamine cycle in the description below, screenshot it, and put it on the back of your phone so you can remind yourself that every time you're able to catch yourself and take a preventive action, and those preventive actions you have to come up with yourself, because I'm going to make another video on that, but it could be like deleting your app, putting down your phone, then you know that you're building your potential and drive and motivation a little bit, and you're lifting that lid, and it's becoming stronger and stronger. I'm Francis Drake. Subscribe to the channel if you ever want to see me again, and good luck to you. I believe in you. You can do this. Fight this battle every day. Goodbye.